Hello, YouTube. I thought I would do another video game review. Um, if you watched my channel update video that I did, I think it was yesterday, um, I said that I would be doing, I mentioned, a couple of upcoming, streams that I really wanted to do that I had planned. Before I get into my today's video, I just want to say I have started construction on my video for my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. um I watched I I ended up watching Kill Bill volumes 1 and 2 back to back last night. Not that long ago, I just finished Reservoir Dogs. Um, and then tomorrow, I will most probably do a couple more Tarantino movies. So that hopefully will be up very, very soon. But yeah, today's video. Today I'm going to be reviewing, like I said, I think I said this at the beginning of the video. I'm going to be doing another video game review, and today's video game review is Mafia 3. Um, I remember, uh, I remember, I remember before this game came out, it was literally, um, like everybody was hyping it up, like everybody, there was so much hype, surrounding this game, and um, surrounding this game. And this is, you know how sometimes a game can be, like massively hyped, and then it comes out and and then the game comes out and it turns out to be like the biggest disappointment. Well, that is pretty much Mafia 3 in a nutshell. Because um the game, um the first of all, the game, um I learned this just recently, and it would definitely explain why the game wasn't as good as the first two. um Apparently none of the developers who worked on the first two games worked on um, Mafia 3. So, um, so that definitely explains, the serious downgrade in quality this time around. But yeah, um, this game takes place, or this game is set within the fictional city of New Bordeaux, which is based on the city of New Orleans. Um, Game is set in 1968, and the game takes place 17 years after the events of Mafia 2. Um, and I think one of the reasons why Mafia 3 got as much hype as it did, in addition to it obviously being, the first Mafia game on the next gen console at the time, is or was the return of Mafia 2 protagonist Vito Scaletta. Yes, he is back for Mafia 3. Which I will get into in a second. But Mafia 3, you play as Lincoln Clay, a Vietnam vet, who just got home from war, and a former former criminal, Vietnam vet who's just come home from Vietnam, from war. Um, and his adopted family, the Black, I think it's the Black Mafia. Um, um, Sorry guys, hang on. Just let me look this up. Um, um, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Black Mom leader Sammy Robertson, who and his adopted brother, and Lincoln's adopted brother and friend, um, Ellis. Um, and these are, Lincoln Clay is a very unique um, character because he, like for a gangster, for a criminal, he's actually a very, 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 very likable person. Like you genuinely care and like about this character. And um and however, the game opens with um Lincoln doing a job with Lincoln doing a job with Sal Marcano, who basically runs New Bordeaux with his father. And Sal Marcano is like he's a cancer. Like he is just a bad, bad, bad guy. Um, and um, so um, so the game opens with him and Sal robbing. I want to say it's a bank. No, the Federal Reserve. Um, and so and then they get together with um, Sal and his father, and everybody's there. The black mob. Sam. Lincoln's guys are there. Sal's guys are there, and they're all getting together to celebrate their victory. And then, um, but then. But then Sal and his father stab Lincoln and his people in the back. They betray them and they kill Sammy and Ellis, and Lincoln is left for dead. Um, and Lincoln is left for dead. So he's left for dead and then shot in the back of the head. And then he's shot in the back of the head. However, he survives. Um, Lincoln survives because the bullet actually came out the back. Um, so he, um, yeah, so he very narrowly, survives. So he spends, he spends his time, angry, recuperating and plotting his revenge against Sal and his father. And that's basically the story of the game. It is a revenge, it is a revenge story um, with Lincoln, plotting revenge against Sal and his father, and slowly building up his criminal empire to take over New Bordeaux. Um, the game is set during segregation, so there is a lot of um, there. I'm really not correct. I There aren't many words that I hate in this world. However, the N word is definitely one of them. There is a good portion of that in the game because of, obviously, the time period that it's set in. Um, there are you do see a lot of, like, you do see a lot of, like white only signs again, set during segregation. Um, and just, so there's a lot of that in the game. And then as you start to, as you go around and you start to dismantle, you start to dismantle and take from, Sal and his father, you recruit three new, excuse me, three new people um, into your, for your cause. Vito is one of them. The other two are Cassandra and Burke. Um, and they sort of basically become your lieutenants, I guess you could, I guess you could call them. Um, and as you start to take over, um, and as you start to take territory from Sal and his father, and you start to, and you start to build your criminal empire. um, you are tasked with, the game will, when you take when you take over a territory, you are tasked with giving that territory to one of your three new lieutenants that you have recruited. And um and there's a very there's a very, very unique aspect about this, because if you give if you give all the territory, to just one person, to just, to just one of them, um, two of them are two of them sooner or later, are gonna, stab you in the back because you didn't hold up, your end of the bargain. So, um, so, um, um, so the way to, and obviously, you can do whatever you want in the, I'm just saying you do have the option. The game does give you the option to, um, maintain a good relationship with all three of them. And the way to do that is to give, you have to give at least one territory to each of them if you want to maintain, a good, relationship with them. Um, the gameplay is really where this game falls apart, because it is so friggin' repetitive. Um, it is just it's literally just, you are literally doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like, like everything, from the side missions to, to the story missions to, to just about everything in terms of, just about, the gameplay as a whole. It's just it's incredibly repetitive. There's nothing to, there's nothing, to break up, the gameplay, so it doesn't, you don't have, like a variety of things to do like you did in Mafia 2. Like Mafia 2, if you watched my review, that I mentioned, a bunch of different things that you can do in Mafia 2. And, you could buy clothes, you could, you could decorate your car, you can customize cars, you can, all these different things to do in Mafia 2. Um, in Mafia 3, the game, there isn't really any of that. And the game is so repetitive, and so, it's so repetitive and it's so stale that, that, I really found myself, after a while, I found myself just really, 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 really bored with the game. Because there was nothing, to break up, the gameplay into different, um, there wasn't anything, to break up the gameplay, to break up there was nothing, to break it up so it didn't feel, repetitive. Um, the gameplay, pretty much all you're doing is, you're going to different, um, you know, t- you're going to different territories, and taking over different territories and stuff like that, hijacking shipments, um, stealing from, from Sal and his father, and that's pretty much it. Like it's um you do have the option to either kill or recruit, um Sal, like there are these characters in the game. I think they're called NPCs, and they obviously work for Sal and his father. And um, when you when you fight them, you have the option to either kill them or recruit them. Um, and and that's it. That's pretty much all you're doing. I will say the setting of the game looks very, very impressive. The city of the fictional city, of New Bordeaux looks very, very impressive. The 2K and Hangar 13 did a great job with, like the visuals and stuff like that, and the overall, the overall like look of the game. But um but the gameplay is really where this thing falls apart, and it's so repetitive, and it gets, it just, it gets very, very old very, very fast, and it's not really a game. um it's not really this I the only thing that really kept me invested in the game when I was playing it is the story. The story is so incredible. The 2K really, 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 really knows how to tell a story. I mean, they are incredible when it comes to the Mafia series. Like, they really, 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 really know what they're doing. Um, the characters is another. The characters is another area where this game shines. Despite the stale gameplay, the characters are very, 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 very fleshed out, very, very detailed. A lot of the characters in this game, you either really, really like these there are characters in the game, that you will either really, really like or really, really hate. Like Lincoln, characters, like Lincoln, his buddy, John Donovan, who also fought in Vietnam. Um, he's one of the ones that helps you take down, um, um, Sal and Sal and his father. He's not a lieutenant, but recruit him, but he um he literally he's an old friend of Lincoln, and he pretty much stays by Lincoln's side the entire time. They are very, very much um they are very, very much, like brothers in arms, I guess you could say. Um, but yeah, characters in this game, you either really, really like them or you really, really hate them. And that is one of the things that this game does incredibly well. Um, yeah, no, see, I mean, it's not a bad game by any means, but at the same time, it's definitely not a game, it's definitely not a game that you're gonna want to pick back up and and play, over and over again. And it's not the gameplay really just, really leaves a lot to be desired because it's so repetitive. Um, it's not it's nowhere near as good as the first two. The first two games were very, very, like story driven, and they felt almost like a movie. They The first two games, were very, very much driven by the story. Um, and unfortunately for Mafia 3, the story and the characters are really, the only good things about the game, unfortunately. um so yeah, I mean, so I'm not gonna really recommend I'm not gonna really, sit here and recommend the game unless you really want to, um unless you're like a completionist, and you feel like, you absolutely have to play it because you played, the other two. um just, word of warning, if you do decide to play it, um just, prepare to be very, very disappointed because it's nowhere near on the same level as the first two games. um but yeah, no, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you played it, what you thought of it. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.